Welcome. We have a very special guest with us today. His name is Chuck Schwartz. Chuck lives on a beautiful Hilton Head Island in South Carolina. He is married to his wife, Renee, and he is a father to three grown children. Jonathan, who's 32, Brett, who is 30, and Alyssa, who is 27. Chuck is the author of Chuck's Lemonade, a recipe for inspired thinking and living. He is also the author of Huxley the Aquarius, One Dog's Lemons to Lemonade Story, and also the creator of Chuck's Lemonade Collection, which includes an inspirational blog, books, journal challenges, and both live and virtual inspirational presentations. So you are all in for quite a treat. Chuck, let's just dive right into it. Tell us what Chuck's Lemonade is and how did it all start?
So first of all, I want to thank you for inviting me to be here. It's truly my pleasure to be here. When you ask me about where did it all start, it really all starts from the desire to want to bring inspiration and if you will, be sort of a role model. I have had my share of challenges, lemons, if you will. And I've worked hard over the years to turn those challenges into blessings, find gifts in them actually, and make lemonade, right? That old story, turn lemons into lemonade. So it's interesting when you ask where it all started, because I think I've been living it my whole life, but it truly all began around the year 2015 into 2016. After having gone through 10 very, very challenging, if not horrific years, which included, unfortunately to say, separation and divorce, saving my relationship with my children, going through probably the worst financial crisis I could imagine, and recovering from it all. And to finally have the opportunity at some business ownership. And then about 2 years after that wonderful opportunity found me, I had the rug pulled out from underneath me, so to speak, by my business partner. And about 11 months later, it all came to an end. And the dream that I had from both owning the business, but to the potential of what that would mean to me, all very, very abruptly ended. And as I sat there, kind of going, uh-oh, is it happening again? I decided to do something very, very different. And that was to channel my energy in a way that I'd never had before. I'd been thrown a lemon, and but I was going to do something differently. And I started to get up early every day and walk and think, and decided that I was going to focus my time on what I had versus what I had lost, and to do something which I call living gracefully. And it worked. When I say it worked, I began writing, and the writing became posting my thoughts on Facebook. That started comments, and little by little, it turned into this thing which we would call a blog. And today, 5 or 6 years later, I have about 850 followers of the blog on a regular basis. And I know I'm touching people in a wonderful way, because thankfully I get comments back and emails back. And that all culminated into the writing of the book, and all the wonderful things that have fallen out since then. So there's kind of the answer, if you will.
Okay. Wow. That's very inspirational, and so glad that you are where you are right now. So then tell us, why did you write your book? I know where you got to, but what made you decide to write the book?
So it's a great question. So I got remarried, and my second marriage, with thankfully my kids there in attendance on a beautiful island in the Caribbean named St. Kitts. My wife and I went to St. Martin to celebrate our anniversary December 31st, 2019. And we were sitting there on the beach, and I was journaling, writing. And I looked over at my wife and I said, Renee, I've been doing this a long time. And I'm looking through this, and I have like 1,500 pages of Chuck's Lemonade blog posts and my stories. And I said, I think I have a book here. So that's where the concept kind of started. Um, Deep down, I think there was always an author inside of me, although I never wrote anything. I always enjoyed writing. Some of my most wonderful writing experiences happened when I returned to college at 30 years old with three young children, working 80 hours a week at a job that I just hated. And I was returned and went back to college to finally earn the education I thought I needed to escape that job I hated, and it worked. I began a wonderful career, but anyway, I enjoyed writing. Getting educated as an adult versus as a teenager, a true adult, I should say, it's just a whole different experience.
Yeah.
And I wrote and I enjoyed it. So I guess there was always this author inside of me, but I think the true answer to your question really lies inside the word legacy.
Mhm.
Because after I wrote the book, I thought about it and I said, wow, you know, I'm not going to be here one day, but my book is here.
Mhm.
The thought that, I don't know, 50 or 100 years from now, that someone could pick up that book and say, huh, I wonder who this guy Chuck was and what is this recipe? So I think that's really the heart of the answer.
Yeah. Oh wow. I love that. And thinking about your legacy, your long-term legacy, that's incredibly important and very inspirational. I love that. So let's get into the recipe. Can you tell us a little bit about how your book and your lemonade recipe can help our listeners and your readers?
Absolutely. So the recipe for Chuck's Lemonade is inside the word habits. Because first of all, if you really want to change, in a meaningful, impactful way, it really starts with your habits, right? And a lot of us can fall into bad habits, and it doesn't make you a bad person. It's life, right? Life happens. And sometimes bad habits, and I shouldn't say bad, just maybe not the best habits might follow. I decided while I was going through that journey of change prior to losing the business, so that I call it that 10 years or that decade of self-discovery for myself, I decided to hone in on some very, very distinct new habits, if you will. And that is actually the recipe. It is the word habits. So the H is for honesty, as in live honestly with yourself and others. The
Mhm.
A is for acceptance, as in accept what you can't change, but change what you can accept. The B is find your beach, and beach in quotes, because your beach is any space or any place you go to or visit to think better. A real funny story, that business ownership story I was mentioning
Uh-huh.
happened. So I was living in New York, born and raised in New York, lived there for 50 years. And then my business opportunity was actually in Austin, Texas.
Okay.
So I made the move to Austin. And then the story unfolds the way I shared with you before. So now here I am in this foreign land, right, without my support system and my usual support system anyway. And coming from New York and Long Island, where I had beaches to walk on, now I'm in Texas. And what did I have? But I had blue bonnet fields and cows and farms. Well, that became my beach. I literally would get up every day and walk up and down these fields, and I would talk to the cows. And sometimes they'd moo at me, sometimes they wouldn't. But
I
and
love that.
well, that's where I realized. I said, "Hey, you know what? I found my beach." And so your beach is any place or space, right? The I is for inspiration, right? Live inspired, be inspiring, find inspiration. Often our answers are all inside where we seek inspiration. The T is for trust. Trust your gut, right? Your mind, that little voice inside your head, and all the negative talk and self-doubt, trust your gut. What is your gut telling you? Your gut's not going to lie to you like your mind often will. And then the S, the all important S, is for service. And what I mean by that is love and serve yourself and others. And the reason I say yourself first is because you you really can't love others and serve others without you serving yourself as well, right? You can't pour from an empty cup. We've all heard that, right? So take care of yourself, love yourself, serve yourself, and then you'll have so much more to serve from pure joy and pure love.
Oh man, what
Wow.
an incredible recipe. I mean, that's unreal. And I love the finding your beach. I mean, really, it's true, right? I mean, you were talking about being on a beach and living at a beach and being able to walk on one. And it really is about finding, space for ourselves. And so I love that. Yeah, I think that's fantastic.
Well, a little secret. After all that happened, and it's in the book, and I'm not going to give all the details out right now, but oh boy, did I find my beach, because while all this was going on, I purchased some property on a little island named Hilton Head Island,
Ah,
always knowing that that was where I wanted to retire. And then
mm,
when the business situation occurred, my wife and I took a trip there. And we looked at each other and said, what are we waiting for? And now I live on Hilton Head Island, and 10 years earlier than planned. So talk about finding my beach all over again.
yeah. Oh my God, that's remarkable. That is absolutely remarkable.
And I was actually getting emotional as I was listening into you sharing how to really like that beach, finding your beach for sure, and that piece of really trusting your gut. And I can so relate to you, especially in this moment, because as Stephanie already knows, I'm actually moving towards my beach. And it's literally like you, it's an actual beach. I'm actually looking to move our family to Florida. And that my gut always has been telling me to move by the beach. But of course, the fear, the doubt, all of the other things, the obligations have held me back. And so it's really hit home, like to the fact that being really trusting in yourself, in turn, trusting other people and knowing that you're supported is so important in this whole process. And I think for most of us, we always have that dream, like just like you always knew that you wanted to be by the beach. You even had this place already all along, but then it took you all of those years, and then all of the experiences, most unfavorable experience for you to realize I already had my beach. So it's so fascinating. And just for the piece, the last piece, which is ultimately what we are all about here at Fit to Profit, and what you are too, is service. And ultimately, I think for the longest time before I actually found my actual beach, a physical beach that I'm going towards or to, service is probably my beach, right? Like Stephanie, you know about us and how we've been around and what we do. And ultimately being able to share your experience in this way, Chuck, I feel like that's helping people find their beaches. So it's so fascinating, and I'm so honored to have you here, share your experience, share your book, and like teaching the habits, and how it's so relatable, and that you're willing to be so open and vulnerable, that really life is all about receiving the lemons and then doing something with the lemons.
Right.
Well, and Dee Dee, if you don't mind me saying so, when I made that, well, I shouldn't say when my wife and I made the decision to make that move to Hilton Head Island, I mean, I'll be very, very upfront with you. I did not have all the answers. I was unemployed for the first time in over 30 years. And being a little older now, it's not as easy to find work. So, but our gut was bringing us to Hilton Head. So we literally just went with it. for me, you know, that was kind of checking my ego at the door and saying, you know what, I really don't know what's there. I certainly don't have all the answers. Well, almost literally immediately after, I make a phone call to an old friend, someone who I've talked with many times about working together. And I called him up and I said, hey, guess what? I just moved to Hilton Head Island. And he knew that was always in my dreams. And he goes, really? What are you going to do there? And I said, that's why I'm calling you. And that was 3 years ago. And I still work there today.
Wow.
And here's the best part. I work from my home on Hilton Head Island.
Ah, so you get to look at your beach while you work, huh?
I work for a very large national accounting firm, but I get to do most of my work when I'm not traveling.
Yeah.
From my home on Hilton Head Island. So not only did I find my beach, but I'm literally living the life of my dreams.
You followed your own recipe.
Right? Yeah. Didn't have all the answers. You know, there's a chapter in my book. The answer is always no if you don't ask the question, right? I got the bravery and the trust to ask that individual a question, and guess what? A great big yes.
Right. Dee and I talk about this, and you know, there's nothing wrong with asking a question, right? People can always say no, but if you don't ask, they can't say yes. So
there's a great story, which I'm not going to spoil in my book, just on the chapter. And it involves me and my daughter, my 7-year-old daughter, my baby.
Oh, your 27-year-old baby.
My 27-year-old baby.
So
all right, I'm hooked. I'm gonna buy it just for that one story. I'm just teasing. Can you tell? Oh, go ahead, Dee Dee.
No, go ahead. I'm just so excited.
Chuck, I just want you to, give our audience, as much information as possible. So, where and how can we learn more, and where is your book available, and how can people sign up for your blog and plug into everything Chuck Schwartz and everything, lemonade, Chuck's Lemonade.
Great. So the easiest place to start, of course, would be my website, which is chuckslemonade.com, all one word, no apostrophe, right? Okay. chuckslemonade.com. From there, you can sign up for the blog, and I'm gonna give myself a pat on the back right now, if that's okay. I've been writing the blog for over 5 years, and I've never missed a day. Every single morning, a brand new inspirational story, and I'd be straight up honest with you. I write it that morning. I don't know what I'm gonna write when I get up. I have a routine of finding my inspiration. And it happens. And so I would highly recommend signing up for the blog, and you can do that right on the website.
Okay.
You could also purchase the book on the website, or of course you can get it on the regular social channels like Amazon, barnesandnoble.com, and the others. One of the benefits, if you do get it from my website, is that is the only way I can personally sign it for you.
Ah.
Yeah. So if you want one signed, get it from my website, because if you buy it from Amazon, they're shipping it directly.
Yeah. So that's the secret sauce for this one. I'm excited about that.
That's the
Yeah. So what's the future for Chuck's Lemonade? Like what is your ultimate vision?
So that's a great question. So one of the weird things about this was, again, I decided to write it on New Year's Eve 2019, New Year's Day 2020. Well, we all know what happened on March 17th of 2020, right? Mm-hmm. The terrible lockdown. Mm-hmm. And I'm a big deadlines guy, and I already had decided I was writing this book, and nothing was going to stop me from writing it. So I gave myself a deadline of May 1st, and I published it on May 1st of 2020, COVID and all. But it's funny that you asked that, because first of all, if you would have asked me 20 years ago, would I ever write a book? The answer would have probably been, what are you, crazy? I'm not a writer, right? Mm-hmm. So now I wrote this book. But then just a couple of months later, my daughter who's, as we said, 27, my daughter Alyssa, she is on the road with her boyfriend to go to a kennel and buy a dog. And while they're on that car ride, they actually stop at a shelter and they rescue a dog versus buy one.
Uh,
And the next couple of weeks and month or so, I get to watch over text and pictures and video just this wonderful life that this dog has been given. The
mhm.
dog, when my daughter found him, his name was Thomas. She renamed him Huxley. And I just sat there one day and a light bulb went off and I said, wow, talk about a lemons to lemonade story. So I wrote the book, Huxley the Aquarius, One Dog's Lemons to Lemonade Story. And it's really a children's book, which is designed specifically for adults to read to young children,
Mm.
parents, grandparents, aunts and uncles, friends, whatever, because so something really at the heart of me is building good communication between adults and children so that children may not go through some of the struggles that I encountered, which you will read in the Chuck's Lemonade book. So it's full of lessons and stories, but it's all full of wonderful color pictures. It's printed easily for a child to read.
Mhm.
Every page asks the child a question, a simple question to ask themselves. And I introduce 6 new habits inside the word habits for children.
Wow.
So if
Oh,
you would have asked me when I was writing Chuck's Lemonade, if I would have been writing a children's book, I would have said no. So but the future is there's another Chuck's Lemonade book on the horizon.
that's
And
exciting.
yes, there's another one on the horizon. And then there's a fiction novel, which I'm not going to tell you anything about because it's a super secret. It's based on real life people and my story of what happened next. And that's going to be my kind of, once I'm in retirement, project, because that's going to be a very, very big project. But yeah, the blog is going to continue. It's I'll share something about the blog. I have a friend that asked me, like, why do you do this every day? Like, why not just once a week? And I said, that's a great question. I said, well, probably there's 2 reasons why. One, I have 850 people now. They're expecting this every day. So I can't disappoint them anymore. I said, but the real answer is I do it as much for me as I do it for anybody else. It's
Mm.
part of my morning routine now. It's no different than brushing my teeth or eating breakfast. I write my blog because it's part of my life. So the blog will continue, the writing will continue, and we'll see where it all goes. I also do some public speaking. I have spoken with 2 of the largest job search support groups and delivered inspirational presentations on that theme using my Chuck's Lemonade recipe. I've spoken with a business to business networking organization up in New York. I'm currently working with a senior companion program in Utah. Imagine that these folks deliver direct services to seniors all over the Provo, Utah area, and then COVID happens and
Mm.
all the struggles that they encountered. So this program purchased a book for each of the companions, and I do a once a month Chuck's Lemonade book club on Zoom where I give them like 4 or 5 chapters of homework and we discuss them. And I just try to get them to talk and we share, and it's a lot of fun. And on Hilton Head Island, my mom moved here recently, my 83-year-old mom, and she lives in an assisted living facility. And I've been making the assisted living facility circuit, trying to inspire the folks that live there. There's about 4 or 5 of them on the island. So that's what I'm up to.
Wow.
Wow. So I'm really excited about the children's book. When is that going to be released? Because honestly, I have been
Yeah.
struggling with finding the right books for my kids, and I'm very close to. I literally the other day had thought about starting to read her the 4 Agreements because because I can't find anything else that I want to read to her that's going to really start teaching her certain lessons. And then we can start planting seeds, all of that. So when is the book coming out?
The good news, Dee Dee, is it's out.
Yeah.
Oh, it is out.
It is. It's also on my website. And
Okay.
Can we also get personalized author signatures? Because I actually was thinking, this is my next gift for my nephews. I'm really excited.
it's there. That each copy will come signed. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Oh,
Awesome.
so great. So what is if you have, for those who are listening, of course, because they're looking to up-level their businesses, up-level their lives and such, but I could also see a majority of us who are really looking for that piece of inspiration, especially in those dark moments or those moments where, I know I had those moments where I know that I'm not sure if the light it's going to shine. So what is your one, I would say, secret or strategy that you have used to get yourself back up?
Oh, that is a tough one. And while you were asking the question, I had a feeling I knew where it was going. So I just kind of looked down and was thumbing through the 45 or so chapter headings from my book. And then it hit me. And it's kind of, it is the definite answer. And it's the name of a chapter in my book. And that is, life is what you make it.
Mhm.
So, a lot of people say, have a great day. You don't have a great day, you make it a great day, right?
Yes.
You have a choice, right? I was recently delivering a Chuck's Lemonade presentation at one of those assisted living facilities. And that was an interesting one for me because I'm not that age, right? These are high 70s, 80s, even 90-year-olds. And they're going through challenges that I can't even, really understand. Um, so anyway, I said, but regardless of where we are in life, we could still start each day grateful. First of all, if you woke up and you opened your eyes, you've been given the gift of another day, say thank you. Say it out loud, right? Really mean it. Thank you for this day. I do that every day, every single morning. And then I write in a series of journals that I have, and it's all about positive affirmations. It's choosing to go through life down the positive path. Um, don't think for a minute that negative things don't happen to me, because that's not life, right? I get thrown the same curveballs and challenges that everybody does, but I've just chosen to do it differently now, because life is what you make it. I'm going to give you a great example, if you don't mind. Also, I come from New York originally, right? And sitting in traffic was just that was just life, right? Now I live on this beautiful little island, and now if I stop at a red light, that's called traffic here on my little island, right? But I was telling the story at this same presentation I was doing that I remember one red light in particular when I was in New York. I was driving, lots of traffic, knew I was going to be late, nowhere to go because I'm on this parking lot called the Long Island Expressway, right? Mm. And it is what it is, right? And then I'm finally up to my exit and I get off and I'm like, all right, great, I'm getting closer now. I'm going to be late, but at least I'm closer. And there it is, way up ahead of me, this red light. And I know now that I'm probably 6 or 8 light changes before I get through that, right? And I remember that day specifically because I took that opportunity that day to take out a piece of paper and start writing some things down, things that were in my head, right? People I wanted to call. This is before cell phones and texting, right? So I had to literally take out a piece of paper and start writing these things down. And I realized sitting there that red light was actually a gift. Mm. It gave me the opportunity to breathe for a minute, collect my thoughts. While I'm writing, guess what? The anger and the anxiety just starts flowing out because you really can't think positively and negatively at the same exact time. It's not possible.
Right.
So I just, you asked me before, where did it all begin? Maybe my writing career began that day. I don't know. But yeah, Dee Dee, if I had to, one little nugget would be life is what you make it.
Mhm.
Everything is a choice.
Yes, 100%, 100%. And there is nothing like it. Like you said, everyone has his or her own situations, experiences, and hardship. And we really get to choose to see it from this perspective or being positive about it. And so it's so truly, I've read most of your book, and now really hearing you speak, it's really truly a lemonade recipe, right? Like for life, because it's truly that. And thank you so much for sharing, getting up every morning, sharing your blog, sharing your positivity. And I was over the moon as soon as, if you recall our conversation when I was called you the first time, and I was I was not on video, and I was so sad about that. And I literally called my assistant Virginia and was having like a moment when I said, oh my goodness, I have never met, well, I've met generous people, but I was so honored to be in your presence. And even when I didn't have my video on, you were so understanding, and just your story and your generosity, I was touched. So that's why I had to have you on. And thank you so much. I know, Stephanie, I don't know about you, but I am filled up today. Just knowing, yes.
100%, 100%. So I'm experiencing now, Chuck, what Dee Dee started when she first spoke with you, and I'm sure she's still experiencing now. Just you've radiated joy and service, and I just am so grateful, and it feels really good. So you keep doing you, and we'll follow suit. I love that. I absolutely love that.
So
Thank you. I appreciate very much the opportunity to be here today. Please go ahead.
Yes, no, I was saying thank you, and we're so grateful to have you. And yes, I'm excited to share, your segment with everyone, and of course, your book and the website. I am actually ordering that baby or children's book right away as soon as we get off. And just really, honestly, thank you.
Yes.
Collectively, we get to do this, and I know that every one of us really deserve to have a mentor like you. So for all of those readers, including myself, keep doing what you're doing. And I honor you for the work that you do. And thank you so much again for your time.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
It was nice to meet you, Chuck. Thank you. Thank you.
Same here. Nice to meet you.
Thank you very much. Take great care, and we'll stay in touch via the blog on a daily basis. Now I feel like I'm going to be connecting with you energetically every morning.
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
Take care.
You.